Mango Bay, Mango Bay.
Mango Bay.
Mango Bay, Mango Mango Bay, Mango Bay, Mango Bay, your Mango Bay.
For the exclusive content, don't forget to join our Patreon at patreon.com/MangoBay. Mango
Bay.
Welcome to Mango Bay, guys. You know what it is.
Hello,
We're
your two best
hanging
boys, Usama Siddiquee.
out. Pranav Behari.
Bringing the South Asian, what the hell?
What the fuck?
And what the bleh?
Hey, what's this?
What
Bringing the
the-
South Asian. How can she slap?
What? You go?
Yeah.
To the Patreon.
Oh, go to the Patreon, guys. We've got a bunch of bonus content there. Hit it. Don't quit it.
Absolutely. Hit it and love it.
Yeah. Stay
Date it.
there. Date it.
And
Marry
be smitten.
it. Yeah.
Be smitten. What's going on, dude? I feel like I haven't seen you in like...
It's been a fucking hot minute, dude.
You know
What's
what I'm
up? What's up with you? I was in Woodstock last week for the film festival
Oh, yeah.
for Problematic. Everybody go follow that Problematic the show on Instagram.
it's going
Usama's
off.
in it. He's one of the stars of the show.
Dude, you know what's crazy now? I'm realizing that there's like the second episode, I am very compromised as like a human being because I basically become this like gimp of epic proportions. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, across the world, they're just seeing me gimped up. And I'm like, I love it. But also, it's going to be a moment where some guy's be like, you're the guy who was like in the gimp, the donut sex scene.
That was. You're like, oh, you're that guy in that show.
Yeah.
That's what it actually is going to be.
It's popping, dude. I feel like you're going. Devin told me that like the little white hippies were loving it.
Yeah, dude. We had a good little reception there for the show. But you know, look, everything is. We're gonna make it though. It's gonna be amazing. I'm excited. So we were there up in the whitest of all places.
When
the
Pranav
land
was,
of Lyme disease.
was absolutely when Pranav was directing this show, you know, it's like a couple episodes, high intensity, you know, and you're also on a tour of sorts, so you have to like get into.
I wasn't
mode.
directing, but I was the kind of the shadow director.
Definitely like a directing vibe, Rasputin director, basically.
Yeah.
You know, the from behind the shoulder, like actually.
Yes. Yes.
But like it's so funny because it's a comedy, right?
Yeah.
But the delivery is very serious because you're a director, so it'd be like, listen, man, what if you just added the word hairy balls?
Yeah,
to this?
I did. It smells like.
But
ball.
like not like like. So I'm gonna hairy balls.
Yeah, it's true. That was it. You know what? That line gets so many laughs.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It gets so many laughs, dude.
There was a moment I take out like a little pair of hair from and I flick it.
That was just beautiful.
I know. I always wish it's a little longer. I feel like I do it and then it just switches away. Yeah, I wanted to make it a little bit like you know, maybe it's Maybelline looking fucking.
Yeah. You can actually see that clip, I think, from the show if you follow Problematic the Show on Instagram or it's on my IG page as well.
Yeah, that's the same shoot where I said all Asians look the same into a God mic.
Yeah.
Where everyone heard.
Yeah, and well, no, you said it directly
Joe, you know
into
the
the
story?
headphones of the sound girl, of the sound person who was Asian.
Joe, I didn't realize.
No.
So it was it was the sound girl. What was her name?
Eunice.
Eunice.
Very nice, very
Eunice,
talented.
awesome.
Eunice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
And I can't remember the joke or something. It was just
You were like getting along really well with her before
Yes.
that too.
It really was vibes, and I guess that's why it was so okay with me. I was like, she won't mind this, or
She
she wasn't
didn't
even
even
there.
know. You didn't even know
She wasn't even
gonna
there.
hear it.
I was just there. I was hanging out between takes, and I was like, all Asians have small dicks or something. And then afterwards, like, Devin comes up and she's like, listen, you said something, and then she obviously heard it because, you know, she's hearing everything. Then I go up to her, Eunice, great person. I was like, hey, listen, I was joking about the Asian girls. We all looking the same thing. You already know. And she did not accept my apology. She was like, yeah, bye. And then she left. And
She's like, I'm actually a different Asian girl.
Yeah, she's like, what are you talking about?
You're like, that's over there, the one you.
I do lights.
And she was like, I'm the receptionist. I'm like, what? Yeah. Oh, shit. My bad. Sorry.
It was good. It was a good time on set.
It was.
Crazy time.
It was,
You
dude.
know?
I missed that time. That was like really high, hectic, very fun.
Yeah.
There was one of the gayest makeup artists of all time.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, what are you expecting?
I'm not expecting Tom Brady or anything. A bad example. He's gay.
Yeah.
So
I'm not expecting Gronk or anything.
Gronk. It puts the eyeshadow on its skin. It puts the eyeshadow on its skin.
Pretty.
Pretty good looking. I like it. Bro, you know what's so funny is that his personality is also Gronk. Like, have you seen him in like interviews?
Yeah, he's dumb as rocks.
Yeah, he's
dude.
dumb as Gronk.
He sounds like a Gronk.
He's Gronked up, dude. You know what I did this week, dude? That's very interesting. So I've been on this journey, of like losing all like my ego towards like female attention and stuff like that. I read this book that has fully like kind of taken it, thrown it out. It's called The Holy Quran. And so now I throw out the women and bring in the wives, if you know what I mean. Take out the hoes, bring in the wives. It's called Models by Mark Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, dude, I just read it and it was just like, dude, it just took away all this. Maybe I just needed somebody else who, went through it to tell me. But
Is it called Dolls?
It's called Models.
Models, okay.
And literally, it's just talking about him, just talking about like fucking the idea of how dumb it is to go from a validation mindset. All these we talked about. The outside validation is stupid. It wastes your life. There's no. But hearing someone talk about it in book form, fucking, I was just like loving it. I read the whole thing and I was like, oh, just kind of like just in my body when the truth, you read it. But truth takes there's a truth delay where your body has to learn it. So my head learned it. I was like, oh, I get this. And then my body felt the truth. And I was like, oh, this. I really feel this now.
Yeah.
This lack of.
Okay, so what did you learn though? Just not to seek validation from vaginas?
The idea, well, he made it into two. He made it into two concepts. The reason you feel this way towards women or whatever is neediness, the neediness of validation, the neediness of think I'm awesome, all this stuff, and then you're not vulnerable. So high vulnerabiliability and
I've been telling you this for years, but okay.
You said I'm gay, I think, a couple of times. That's all you said.
That just made you go harder for the pussy.
Yeah.
I got to prove my boy who I love, my boy who's handsome.
Actually. But the neediness and the low vulnerability. So it's like the idea of like you being needy is lame and fucking not cool. And also not being vulnerable. Like you can't show who you actually are.
Right.
So these two things, when you're not needy and you are vulnerable, it takes away all the onus on them, all the power from everyone else, and puts it squarely on your shoulders. And so I always had this in my brain, but once it's there for stand up, but once I had it for female attention, it all kind of made sense. And then I could feel it kind of working,
How so?
I started like in a room. I started treating
women as people.
Women as people.
That's what you're about to say.
I was gonna say I treated the two like a 10, but I didn't say that.
That's better.
Ostensibly the same thing.
What are you, the Dalai Lama or something?
Ostensibly, that's the fuckboy version of what you said. Women are people. Twos are 10s now. It's the same thing. We're saying the same thing here.
We're all one.
Yes. And that's why the Dalai
thing
Lama...
is, you're always nice to everybody.
I see beauty in everybody. That's great.
That's the thing about you. It's like you're not a dickhead.
No.
You're a fucking super nice, sweet dude. So you always treat twos as 10s.
Yes.
Even in comedy, you treat comedy twos like they're 10s. Are you saying that you banged a 2?
I did not.
Okay.
I would never.
Hey.
No, I would.
He would.
Sorry. Mark. Ah! Well, it's just the idea of like, but that idea of like me, from like a person that maybe is super hot is dissipated.
Yeah. And, here's the paradox of that is when that dissipates, that just brings them more and more towards you.
But the beauty is if you truly have learned it, it shouldn't matter.
Shouldn't matter.
You know what I'm saying? If you get excited because you're getting the attention now, then you've actually not had the truth really.
So what do you see then what is your motivation now towards women as romantic partners or whatever? Is this you now? Right. You want a relationship? You want to like?
It's not as codified as that, but it's like, is the person worth my time? And not even just time, but any millisecond. Right?
Really?
Any millisecond.
So otherwise, you're just like
Heisman Trophy them.
Yeah, Heismaning out the hose.
Hosemaning it. Yeah, bro. So I think it's all this talk was before, but I really have been living that lifestyle. So like this idea of like true like that neediness that was powering every interaction of trying to get women to like me.
But you know what? The thing is, like, that's just everywhere and everything. You know what I mean?
the
Like
same,
the
yeah.
need for validation, that
Yeah.
hole inside of us. But it's good because it's like this affects a very specific area of your life where you need to fix it. But the whole thing is like, because you don't want to be a pussy when it comes to being vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like it's also just about like accepting. Oh shit! I got a thing about this thing, and I need to just face it and say, like, no, it's good. It's good.
There is a fine line.
Where the hose at?
There's. I guess if you're gonna be vulnerable, add a black accent to
Yeah, exactly.
neutralize it. Yo, I was touched when I was 7. Molested, more like, in a real way.
Okay, Chris Brown. So Chris Brown was too dumb, so he was bragging about it. He's like, yeah, you know, I fucked when I was 9. I'm like, you were abused, young man.
I was.
You
in
know
there.
how we do in the South.
I was in there. Lil Wayne has this interview where he does that.
What?
And it wasn't even, it was like more chilling because he wasn't arrogant about it. He was like, when I was 11, I had sex in a barn. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, this is,
A barn is never going to be a consensual place
dude,
for
it's
having
never
sex.
like, let's both go to the barn.
Yeah.
It's no, I'm taking you to the barn.
Yeah, hey, you want to go to the shed?
Hey, you want to bang in this dungeon? Wow, yeah.
And then it's set up. There's a nice checkered cloth, tablecloth, some candles, a guy playing the accordion, you know.
No dungeon's
Two
complete
plates.
without some Sinatra.
Yeah.
Said nobody ever. So yeah, that whole concept. I feel like you never had this. I feel like I met you when you were outside of the female validation matrix.
No, I mean, it's like I was going out of it. For me, it's just, I think when I started comedy, that became my real validation chase.
Right, but
You
same
know.
here. But I guess I worked it in. Worked it
but
in.
I was older than you too, right?
Yeah.
So I'd already been settled in my ways vis-a-vis the hose.
You know, it could be worse. There's a friend of ours that I asked him, like, he's out there in the streets also, you know, trying to get puss. And I'm like, so you bring him over, right? And then you fuck him, right? And he's like, no, not that quick. I bring him over, I play my harmonium. They have to think that's cool. Then I go fuck them. I'm like, how many levels of validation do you need? And he's like, no, I can't fuck them until they see my harmonium playing.
And then I read them some of my poetry.
And I say poetry. Then I bhangra dance a little bit.
Then I go through my old transcripts from high school.
And then I just go alone and jack off to my own accomplishments. That's like, if we're on a spectrum here, Pranav has no need. Then I have like the female. Then one guy needs like 5 levels of you're awesome before.
It's such a white fuckboy approach, but in an Indian style, be like, come over, instead of playing like, hey there, Delilah, or whatever, you know, playing Wonderwall. Does he do Wonderwall on the harmonium?
I wish.
You know what I mean?
Wake me up when this song ends. Okay?
I don't know. I don't even know how
Whatever
Wonderwall
that
goes.
was. Yeah, that's white.
Yeah.
White shit. But it's like, you know, we're all like, when you try to get out of the validation, then you start seeing everyone else still in it, and you're like, fucking man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Men have been just taught to just, please, fuck me, like me. It's like, dude, if this took me this long, someone who I think does a lot of reflection, does a lot of work on himself, and I took me this long to get out, 33 years to get out of this concept. Fucking, what about somebody who's Italian in Jersey and doesn't give any?
They don't ever escape. They're trapped in
Like, they
Maya.
don't do, and again, we're like gay philosophers, and it took us
Yeah.
this long.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're not a gay philosopher, I don't even know. What has to happen?
Socrates. Play-Doh.
Right? It's like, what how do you fix that?
You don't. Most
So-
people live in just in that cycle of.
I was feeling a lot of hurt for my boys. The boys of the world.
Yeah.
Every boy is my boy. You know, we are all the world's boys. Right?
Yeah.
And I was feeling so shitty. I was
Well,
like,
eventually they're just like, oh, this one's closest to my mother, you know? And then it's like, I gotta marry this broad. I gotta marry this chick.
you find philosophy in Italian values. It's
Yeah.
like, I always needed somebody who can make a good ziti.
Yeah.
And that is their finding of the truth, right? It's like,
Yeah, she makes a great marinara.
well, what they mean is she's there for me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The marinara is symbol
Yeah.
for being there
For the mother's tit.
for the mother's tomato
Marinara comes straight out of the left nipple.
Titmato.
Yeah, Alfredo comes out of the right.
Oh, yeah? Bro.
Pesto, maybe.
Pesto's after I'm done with her. You know what I'm saying? Just gritty and green.
God, stop that. We're not like that anymore.
Oh, I know.
Well, that's good, dude. I'm proud of you that you're on this.
I am truly a not.
Now, of course, you do go on this journey once a year, but I'm enjoying this specific iteration of it.
Well, it's powered by books now, and not Pook from POA.com. Just kidding. But it really is my body now. I think it really is. And you're right. That the moment it really is your body, all of a sudden the colors start to sharpen, but then also the attention starts to increase. But 2s or 10s now.
2s or 10s now. Welcome, guys, to the new world, ladies.
All our souls are 10s.
Yeah.
That's why the 2's a 10 now.
That's great, dude. Proud of you.
And it just took too long. It didn't.
It happened right when it needed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I always saw you as like a, besides the Asian thing, you've always had like a pretty level head.
Shut the fuck up. Asian.
Life is all about Asian.
Did you go to the Hasan party last night? Hasan Minhaj dropped a
did.
special, I think.
I did.
Did it drop?
I think it dropped. Okay. He's
wanna
going
watch
off.
it.
One of his clips was kind of intense, dude. I was like, okay, Hasan.
Was it funny?
It was funny, dude. I mean, you know what? And I want to say this again. We were the only brown guys who didn't shit on Hasan when he got the
That's
tobacco.
true. We
Okay.
didn't.
Every brown comic in the comments. Wow, dude, dick riding much.
I know.
Dick riding much.
I shit on him, but I cut it out of the final
Yeah, you
episode.
did.
You did.
And
He's
you know,
white.
and you know why, bro? And this is back to the thing, bro. And this is so classic. Joe knows it in his deep soul. Is that people don't want to see brown guys winning. People don't want to see brown guys winning.
Yeah.
People are scared of white people are scared of black people, so they give them the leeway when they're winning. But they don't want someone they're not
No,
scared
that's the
of.
opposite.
What?
They don't respect black people enough, so they don't bother to try with the hating. That's what the real racism is.
Or they're scared of black people
Right.
at their core.
Because look, we're talking about what? Like the white power holders, right? No, they see Indians as a much bigger threat because we're the ones who come for their actual centers of power.
jobs.
You know?
We know, but black guys come for their women. So
They do. That's a whole huge part of the white
they don't
racism.
Have, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like there's fear in different parts. Us on a career level, them on a genital level, which I think is valid, by the way. They're fucking them.
Yeah.
If I was, people say like, hey, would you go back in time to kill Hitler? No. I would go back and to see those little like 60s housewives banging black dudes.
Yeah.
And be like, nice.
You just jack off. It's like, if I had a time machine, I'd try jack off to some early, real taboo interracial stuff. You know?
Yes. There'd be G's across dimensions.
Maybe head down to Mexico, see what's brewing down there
You know,
south of the border.
I would see all the gnarliest fucks of history go to Marquis de Sade's time, just be a little hummingbird on the wall. My jizz would span.
Then he grabs you as a hummingbird and shoves you up his ass.
And I'm like, don't mind it though.
Farts out your head.
I'm like, you know what? Don't mind it. I'm evolved now.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
evolved.
see color.
2s or 10s.
2s or 10s.
Marquis.
Everything's a whole. 2s or 10s. These are my values now. But yeah, I just think that like I think that whole hate with Hasan was just like, because he was, brown guy coming up in a real way, real power. To hate was so easy. Not even funny. He's not even bad. It's about the principle of the thing. All of a sudden, every comic was a arbiter of truth. All of a sudden, every comic, what happens to us if we become beasts?
He made things up.
And all of a sudden, they had a toga, and they were like Sagittarius on the dance floor in the fucking Roman Republic. Who are we if we are not? What? What?
What have we become?
Everyone became fucking, what's the orator, famous, or Cicero. Everyone became fucking Cicero in 2 days. Que sacra, bitch.
So how was the party? That's what I want to hear about.
Really fun.
Was it?
Really fun, dude.
I wanted to come, but I had to do this thing.
Bro, you know what? I don't try anymore.
You got to keep trying.
I do every single thing I go to, and now I tell you.
Yeah.
But you never come, dude.
I
And
try.
actually, it's hurting me now.
No, listen, it's always because there's something that's happening specifically, and it's usually work career related, you know?
dude.
Like yesterday, dude,
Here's what I think, dude. I don't think you like big crowds at all. I think you really are reviled by big crowds. I just don't think you like them. I think you like to have a little control in your space, who gets in your space, which I get. But I really don't think you enjoy crowds or places where you become one of many.
That's not true. My birthday party was pretty mobbed
It
up.
was, but it's all people that you've curated.
Yeah.
You could.
There's no risk of me running into a douchebag. That's true.
You just have to curate your outward experience. You know when like a girl like plans out her shits, so like when she goes out, there's no issues with her asshole. That's you with people. You plan out your shits, but with people.
I like groups. Look, honestly, it's because
No. Here's the thing, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off a lot, but I'm gonna tear right now.
Okay, do it.
You do like groups once you're in it, but the idea of it is not fun for you. But then once you're in it, dude, fucking hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? It's all happening.
Look, you're right, because I'm just like, noise tends to bother me actually a little bit.
And how do I get in there?
Yeah, I know.
What's up? Just yelling all the time.
You've been like that final test in the Shaolin Temple. Like that's been you. My love for you has been that.
The oracle was like, and then you'll fall in love with the thing he hates.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, right. In comes me.
This is how karma works, you know. I think it's like, look, you know what? You're actually right. I think you're right, and I'm impressed with the observation. Bro. You know,
dude, do I have intelligence Tourette's? Do you think?
You always do. We already know that about you. We're like pussy, 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 come, pun, 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 and then you'll be like, the thing about you is your vulnerability is among crowds. It's difficult for you as one who seeks control. I'm like,
and then pussy.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, bro. And you know what? I don't fight it. You know me. I'm not but maybe I should be like, just add one more. Like, just come, dude. I just add one more. Like,
yeah, I wanted to go badly too.
Me and Adi talked about this with you about you. We're like, dude, getting this guy to come to shit is like this insane endeavor. And then he's like, dude, it's hard for me to get into things that he would like. Like literally, it's like the event is like Hindu Fest, and you're like, I don't know, dude, Hindu Fest.
You know what? You're right. Anything short of Gomela, I probably wouldn't want to go to.
Right, dude. You know, so it's like, I don't know. It's like, dude, you've curated a very awesome life, and you know exactly the pressure points and the places of joy and the places of good energy and the oases of the shitty world that we live in.
But look, I need to stop, you know?
And here's the thing, bro.
I need to stop. And I always say, like, bro, you're going to be just chill. And then I'll see one guy who I'm just like, oh, this fucking guy.
You see 20 of those guys.
Fucking guy. And then it's like, it's a backslide from there.
It's a backslide, dude. And here's the thing. It's like the party in Kolkata, you'd have loved it. A lot of interesting people, a lot of fun vibes. Like Samir was there. If you were there, you might not have fucking exploded. Might have fucking been a good vibe, dude. Then he was all fucking crazy. The actual party was like a lot of brown people, dude. It was just like, dude, like, dude, we talk about like the shitty, like, financy, leg up in the society brown guy that seems to pervade New York with true intensity. Like, to find a real authentic Indian or Desi or Bengali or Pakistani guy who's not a comedian, it seems to be like a effort in complete futility, right?
Right.
But, here's the thing, dude. The more I hang out with these guys, the more I'm like, oh, that guy's cool. This guy's fucking chill as fuck.
I'm sure they're
Ronnie Chiang was there. He would have loved seeing you.
Oh,
he was
there.
like
How's
jumping
Ronnie?
around. He's fucking when he wasn't in a suit. He wears suits so much when he's not wearing one. I think he's like lost a job.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'm like, Ronnie, you
homeless
okay,
now?
dude? Like, you're wearing a shirt.
You're just wearing a finely
pants.
pressed polo.
Right, only a polo that's ironed. Did you kill your wife? He was there hanging out. He looked out of place in an Indian ass fucking fest. There was girls that I banged once that hate me now, but we had a little moment like, hey, how's it going?
Oh,
Are you
nice.
good? And then, a reignition of the vibe.
Dude, honestly, I wanted to go to this, and I was going to go to this. Bro, I was going to go to this, but I had to memorize a bunch of lines.
I get it.
And I was not prepared because I'd been in Woodstock the whole week before. So I was like, fuck, do I go to this? Do I not? Plus, I was fasting, and I was like,
bro, you can always talk yourself out of stuff, And who's more forceful in Pranav's brain than the guy himself? You know what I'm saying? Party of one.
I should have gone, dude. I want
you to feel FOMO. I really do want you to feel the FOMO because I want you to feel the dearth.
Yeah.
Because if you don't feel it, you're not going to want to do it. And here's the thing, bro. Whoa, Uncle Usama coming out.
Yeah,
Where's this coming from?
I like it.
But I think you're in the space to hear it and receive it. You're a comedian, dude. Mm-hmm. You're a great comedian.
Yes.
You're one of the best comedians. One of the funniest guys on this plane of existence.
Yes.
Easily. I was thinking about you yesterday. I was walking. I was like, man, Pranav's so funny, dude. I was thinking about the clip yesterday we posted. You talking about the greatest pussy of all time. And I was like, that guy's so funny. And I was like, you know what? This guy's nowhere. It's like comedians should not be home at 10:30.
You're right.
They should be out doing these spots, working around, especially at a fucking Brown event. You know, I have a lot of Mango fans. Girls, hey, Mango, where's Pranav? Where's Pranav? Fuck. He's watching a student-made film.
It's not true. I was not doing something like that I thought was going to be fun. I was legit like trying to read lines and went to bed super early.
You know? But like you party fools to like a Jamie Wolf's birthday party, something like that. Hey, come through. People are going to be there. Mo's going to be there. Harshal's going to be there. No, Pranav's gone.
I got to go.
You know what I'm saying?
I got to start doing it. I got to go.
It's not that bad, bro. And even if you just, it's like one of those like exposure therapy things where you walk in and you walk out. And that's
no,
it.
look, I like parties,
You
but
do.
then there's always like, look, here's the problem is that there's always something that's just enough to pull me away from it, and then I don't talk myself into it, but I need to. Don't stop inviting me.
I will, of course not. There was one moment, especially it was like this New Year's party, I think, a couple years ago. Kenna was there as well.
Yeah.
And it was like 10:30 or something, and you were doing nothing or something, and we were all going to the Gran Torino.
Oh yeah,
to party,
it was
right?
Fun.
And I was like, "Pranav, just come." And you're like, "Nah." Then Kenna was there. I think McKenna maybe put you over the edge.
Yeah. And
then you go, and I don't see you, and you're like, "I'm here." You text me, I think, and then I don't see you for like 20 minutes. When I get to Pranav, it's like he started a harem in 20 minutes.
No, I was having a lot of fun.
I have a lot of fun, dude.
Was having a lot of fun.
5, 4, 3, 2. It wasn't even time yet.
I know.
Everyone's laughing. You know what I'm saying?
I know. That was so fun. My niece Kenna came.
Right.
And she was like college girl phase, and she came to say cha-cha. It was so fun hanging out with her.
Yeah.
But we're in Brooklyn, New York. We're not in like State College, Pennsylvania or whatever, right? And she's like, cha-cha, can we have a drink together? I was like, yeah, sure. Let's go to the drink. She goes to the bar. She's like, can I get 2 lemon drops? And the bartender was like, no. No. And we just died laughing. It was very funny. It was very, very funny.
Lemon drops are the underage.
Yeah, that's like what you do as a kid.
No lemon drops come without roofies.
It's like, I want candy that's going to fuck me up,
Jesus Christ, dude. Those little Jello shots, remember that?
Yeah, Jello shots.
Either had 0 alcohol or 79.
Why not just make gushers with alcohol
Straight
at this
up,
point,
dude.
Like.
But yeah, it's I just think as a comedian, you should be out in the streets more.
I should be. You're right. You're 100% right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not even a big thing, but it's like,
It's a thing. It's a thing. I accept it.
What is it? It's like is it control? Is it control?
No,
of your
it's
space?
not. It's not. A lot of times it'll be like, all right, I want to hang out with my girlfriend, but sometimes I don't want to bring my girlfriend to comedy stuff because it's just like a little too jungly energy. And she's a very put together person. She's jungly in her own way, believe me. But, and so sometimes I'm like, I don't want to fucking drag her around to these places, but I do want to. That's the interesting thing is I do yearn. Sometimes I'm like, man, why aren't I going out more? Why aren't I going out and hanging out with more comics these days? And it's like, it's not a good thing. And I cancel a lot, but it's always something does come up. And like, the fact is
that
I
have to read Taliban poetry on my toilet.
Shut up.
What am I? Listen, what am I going to do today if I don't read Taliban poetry?
I am at a certain point where things are heating up in my career in other areas. And so I'm like having to put a lot of time into those things, even though those aren't the things I necessarily want to be doing at that moment.
If stand-up really is the king, as we say it is, and it is.
It is.
Then there's other parts of it that should be. And again, I'm not the best either, bro. I should be at the cellar hanging out more to get back in, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I want to do more stand-up.
Yeah.
So there's other things. I have deficiencies as well in terms of like hangability or whatever.
And that has always been my thing where I'm like, I don't like going for the hang. If I have that time, I want to go be working, either doing an open mic if I'm not booked, or doing a show, or.
And I'm with you. I don't think you should be like.
But that's not the right way.
I don't think you should be feeling like shit if you're like on a Tuesday night writing at 8 p.m. and being like, I should be hanging. That's not true. I don't think that. I think that energy is also lame. But at a Hasan Minhaj release party, every brown fucking motherfucker's gonna be there. You should have been there.
I should have been there.
You are one of the best brown comics in the city, so you should be at a Hasan Minhaj release party.
Fuck.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? My main draw was like, I want to watch the screening. That's where my.
I don't know where that because you're a cinephile or something.
It's because that's where I'm like, I'm a comedian and I want to go see what he's doing and let's see the jokes. Right. Right. I should have just gone to the fucking party.
That's it. That's what. No more harping on this, but and you're great in the hang, dude. You're great.
I'm great in the hang.
Great in the hang.
Who riffs it up like
a
guy?
Buddy. Pranav has come in and taken my hangs many times.
Who roasts and riffs?
There was one time I remember it was like Joe's birthday party or something, Joe's wedding. And I'm like, it was like, I think Olivia's dad, right? And I'm in the comedy shop, right? And I'm riffing with him. I'm like having a good time. And, I'm like working him, like slowly netting him. Pranav comes in and is like, you Mexican little fuck or something. And then he's like, I love this guy. I walk away. I'm like, he goes in so hard.
Who's this sexy mariachi? It said something dumb like that.
Immediately he like blushes like, it's me. It's me, actually.
talking about me.
It's me. You know? He took his like fucking sombrero off and started, he's like twirling his like 2 mustaches, So it's like, bro, it's like you have the charm, and then fucking Joe's mom wants to fuck you,
Okay, I don't know about that, Joe. I'm sorry.
Joe?
I'm sorry, buddy.
Joe?
I don't know where that's coming from.
She did remember you.
Ooh.
We've talked about this. She was like, who's that guy with the mustache and the long hair? The tall guy.
I guess if you like squint, you look like an Italian guy, kind of like an old Italian.
He looks like the guy in the pizza box.
Yeah. He's got
They look like Chef Boyardee, Chef Behari.
Chef Manardi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's a boy no more, bitch. What our moms think is hot is always a very fascinating thing. My mom was watching cricket, and she was like, who's that guy? I'm like, what? It was a fat Sri Lankan bowler. I'm like, this is your guy?
Who he with?
Who's Muda literal? I'm like, this guy's like an aging fat fuck. Mom was like, he's
You know why? It's because in like the Indian cinema from like the 50s, it's like these guys aren't going on conventional hot lists. It's like, who's the fat? It's like a fat guy with Riz. You know what I mean? It's like some fatso with Riz.
Indian People magazine is like, can anyone ever be hotter than Rajinikanth?
Yeah.
This guy who looks 65 his entire life.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
seriously.
But it's true that South Indian films really had no hot,
It's just pure Riz.
pure Riz.
The women were very hot, but the
gorgeous.
dudes were just pure Riz.
It's an interesting. It almost seemed like it was such a patriarchal culture that wasn't homophobic. It was homophobic as all. Is that if it was ever anyone pretty, it'd be like gay.
Yeah.
So true manhood had to be like ugly
Yeah.
in a way.
It's true.
Ugly people really are the hottest people.
Yeah. But my opinion about straight women is that straight women don't really even care that much about looks.
Yeah, they don't.
You know,
And Mark told me this as well.
Mark did as well.
Well, it's been obvious, right? But the idea is they care in the first moment
Yeah.
or 5 moments, but then it's like it's all Riz.
It's all Riz.
It's all Riz. Do you give a fuck?
Yeah.
Do you give a fuck? A lot. You know, I like this book too. It's like a lot of pickup is about like moves you can do, qualifications, negging, hot and
Okay,
cold.
so this guy's a pickup artist?
No, he's not. He's anti.
Okay.
He shits on all this stuff.
Okay.
And he's saying like all the stuff, all the techniques of like hot and cold, poeticized your presence, all this bullshit.
Okay, I don't know what those are, but
that I read once. And he's like more like just stop giving a fuck for real and how to do that. And that is all you need.
Yeah.
And that really is it. Stop giving a fuck about it.
Well, like
work on yourself.
What I remember about the pickup artist community, because there was like in the mid-aughts or something,
Yeah.
they had like a TV show on MTV and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
And it was all about like how to give a woman the impression that you're an actual man.
Yes.
Without actually just doing the work of being a man.
Right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
It's like, hey, cultivate some interest. It's like, nah, just wear a funny looking hat. That'll get her
So
attention.
you look like you have a job in the hat business.
Yeah.
Oh, well, like learn magic.
Yeah, I know. It's
So you
like,
can what the fuck? So
sorry,
these
Joe.
guys,
No disrespect, Joe.
yeah, which is great. But we're talking magic for pussy.
Yeah.
That's now lame all
Yeah.
of a sudden. So they would wear these like large scarves and be like, be insane.
Yeah.
And then they can't help but remember
It's
you.
all just one big catfishing maneuver, though, because after they take off the big scarf and the funny-looking hat, it's like he's just a dork who
That's all it
actually
is.
doesn't know who he is and thus can't really attract people.
It was the
you
issue
know?
the entire time. But also it's like how dudes think, right? Dudes don't think in emotionality, or even the dumbest dudes just think in processes and hierarchies and that sort of like base male mentality of like, how do I win this? How do I acquire this? How do I, become higher on the rungs? All very male legacy, chimpanzee society bullshit. The idea that you have to go feminine to get feminine.
Ooh.
What's up?
I'm a little bit worried about this book. I feel like it's actually taking you to another level, you know what I mean, of being a pussy hound and being a fuckboy, where it's like, I'm not a fuckboy anymore, I'm a fuck man. I'm a fuck elder now.
I'm a fuck alumni.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck alumni.
A fuck alumni.
A fuck alumni. It is interesting the side effect of who is that one Indian thinker, kind of a rishi that was very famous.
Osho?
Not Osho. He was very famous in America in the 70s. Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Oh, Krishnamurti, yeah.
I read about him.
Yeah.
And this guy, hot.
Yeah.
And all he talked about was like, no pussy. Renounce all the pussy. And every white girl was like, what if you fucked me,
Yeah, I
though?
know.
And
That was his whole thing. Is they
And it's-
recruited him specifically, like the Theosophists, because
Yeah.
they're like, this guy's really, really good looking. Let's like construct his identity as like a wise guru. I mean, people love Jiddu Krishnamurti. I don't really love him personally.
Why?
but
So his values or just the
I just think.
what he was talking
I
about?
think his popularity comes from the fact that he's very digestible by the West,
Sure.
and he's there to be like a taboo breaker of Indic things in that way, while still staying within the Indic fold. And I'm like, this guy's he's like a marketing gimmick.
Well, it's like a entry, Brown Thought 101 or whatever, like, Indic Thought 101. Girls can come in entry level, just enough to get their feet wet. You know,
Yes.
community college, Hinduism,
Yeah, kind of.
right? I mean, don't you get the white chicks on the Shakti Punch now? Like, hey, I loved your... Because it's
Not
real
really.
shit.
It's like real shit.
It's not
dude.
pop.
Yeah, it's not like poppy shit. We're talking about the Yoga Vashishta.
Right,
And we're like,
right.
here's how he learned pranayama from a crow.
And the white girl who's into that is actually worth your time, it seems like. You know what I'm saying? Who's like, I loved your Vashishta talk.
Yeah, it's not really. It's interesting. Several Muslim women have
yeah.
joined the kind of Shishya nation of Shakti Punch, and they'll DM me and like some Arab women,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and they'll like DM, and it's all very. It's not like horny DMing. They're just
Yeah.
like, this is great, thank you, wow, cool.
Amazing.
But they're people who are really into Dharma.
Yeah.
So
I mean, every human being, whether they want to or not,
yeah,
is into Dharma.
that's
You know what I'm
true
saying?
as well.
You're
They're
finding yourself.
What an observation. Va.
I'm smart. I'm smart.
Well, I've been coming to some realizations, though, about other religions, too, because, I can be a bit of like a Hindutva type. And it's
No,
like,
no.
no, not at all. But I was thinking about it,
Yes.
and I was like, look, Christianity, Islam, these are also very valid ways of achieving liberation. What?
Is it this is my women or people too?
It's kind of is.
Literally, you're like, Islam's a thing.
Well, look, it's like the same philosophical depth isn't there, but the fact is that they have the devotional fervor.
Well, the
And-
philosophical depth comes from the people studying it. So it's like, regardless of the book or not, philosophical depth comes from the practicer, not from the actual book, I think.
Well, it's
Right.
both, right?
Well, yeah,
It's-
but-
it's inculcated in you to be bent towards
Sure.
thinking about things in a certain way.
I guess
right?
it's a combination, but someone can go deep philosophically on the smallest of things.
Sure,
You know, but
sure,
anyway.
sure.
So what
But
are you saying?
it was basically just that. Look, devotion is critical to liberation, right? It's not just like
Discipline, you mean?
abstracted devotion.
So not
Actual
dis-
devotion.
so not
discipline is part of that
Right.
too.
But you're
right?
saying just the feeling of
yes, right?
Okay, sure,
because
sure.
it has that potential of ego dissolution in it,
yes, yes.
and so
Humility based on.
But
the
that's
ego.
how Sufis came around, because they came around to these kind of very dharmic concepts
Yes.
as well, and started to think about it that way, right? And same thing with like Gnostic Christians and stuff like that, right?
Right,
And-
more mystical side. Of stuff.
yeah, when they get into it, but so yeah, they are humans too. I guess. It turns out.
Wow, that's really unique.
Well, it's
Yeah.
good because it's like this. That's what I love about doing the spiritual pod, right? The spiritual show is that like it's actually giving me a window into thinking about all of this together. It's not just narrowly focused on Hindu, and actually, that's the irony of that is that even no Hindu text is that either. No Hindu text is like Hindus should do this because the concept doesn't exist,
You know what I'm
right?
gonna do? I just realized as you're talking about this, I'm gonna tell my dad to watch one of your episodes. And
Yeah.
really hammer it, like really be like, watch this fully.
Yeah.
What episode? If my dad is a very like, again, he grew up super Muslim, right? Was in the madrasa. He was doing reciting. He learned the Quran by like 5. He's very Muslim. Lost all of it. Hates God. Writes trolling atheist poetry on Facebook to rile up
Yeah.
Muslims. in a lot of ways, there's an extreme and there's like a sort of a sandpaper energy to his that you also kind of stay in sometimes. What episode should he watch that would kind of take him on a journey? You see what I'm saying? Like, and tell me, you don't have to tell me right now, but I want him to watch a full episode of Shakti Punch, and I want him to, because the way you're journeying in and out of like thoughts and acceptances and stuff like that, I think he would benefit from some of this because he's become pretty rigid in it, in his thought process. And I was like, maybe Shakti Punch would actually kind of loosen the butthole a little bit.
He might like it. I mean, it's interesting because I got on the course of thing because a friend of mine, a white friend who's not religious at all, was like, hey man, you should you don't need to take shots at these other religions. And I was like, I'm not taking shots. I was like, I'm just trying to demarcate so Indian Hindus can understand who we are, right? And not feel weird or embarrassed because we have an aesthetically maximalist faith. And so I constructed a lot of intelligent and I think very valid reasons why not to.
We're pretty maximalist ourselves.
Right.
Blowing yourself up is not minimalism.
Aesthetically maximalist, right? Look, Muslims are so devoted and so intensely devout. You know what I mean? Like when you're a Muslim, you're a fucking Muslim. You know what I mean? Hindus in general are just very like, yes, everything goes. I like this.
Most of my Muslim friends growing up were also like,
Yeah.
I guess the mainstream Islam thought or whatever what it's seen as, it seems pretty intense. But even in Saudi Arabia when I went, bro, there's mad chill-ass Muslims who are like, I have a girlfriend that I fuck in a hotel. And this is ostensibly the most fucking Muslim place on earth. I mean, I think most people, the practice becomes way more chill. It's just, I think old people are the worst Muslims because they just fucking become rigid in their older age. And Islam really loves rigidity too. The interpretation, if you allow it, can be very rigid. But I think there's a lot of loose Muslims too that I love. Yet again,
they're just like cultural Muslims and they're just fine, cool, chill people. You know what I mean? Obviously, nobody wants to hang out with the extreme orthodoxy person from any faith. You know what I mean? They're just never going to be that good of a hang.
So what was the moment that you were like, Muslims are people too? Like, what was the...
I wouldn't go that far, but no, I'm kidding. No, it wasn't. It's just been like, when I was, there's an episode where I'm talking about...
I just imagine you're about to like shoot up something very like blow up a Muslim mosque or something, and then like alert comes and it's like a reel of me or something. You see a reel of me, you're like, oh, I can't blow up this mosque.
No, never. Listen, I would, but no. No, you know what it is? Is actually from the very beginning of Shakti Punch, I was like, hey, me being a Hindu or somebody else being a Muslim or somebody else being born a Christian is always, no matter who you are in this world, it is an accident of fate, right?
Yes.
And this is one thing that I brought up to basically be like, hey, I'm not here to shit on any other religion. And actually, what I'm saying is you guys are just as eligible, maybe even more eligible for liberation than I am, based on your past karmas and based on how you do your thing now in this life. And so I was like, hey, you guys could be way more eligible than me. Being a quote Hindu doesn't actually make me any more eligible for liberation, which is the end goal of this, right? Is the release. And I started thinking about that, and then I started reading more and more of certain scriptures where they talk about, devotion and what devotion actually is and the utility of devotion, because it's all about, okay, well, how do we achieve this non-dual realization of pure consciousness, right? And it's like you don't just start from there. You have to get there, and one of those steps is devotion. That's a big part of it. And I talk about that in a couple other episodes. And so I'm just constantly like processing a lot of these thoughts and things like that.
And kind of putting these thoughts in like different settings of like, okay, well, what does this mean for a Muslim guy? What does this mean for a Christian guy?
Yeah.
And there's beauty in that because now you're kind of, again, the empathy of like,
yeah, because like everybody is in this. We're all in this fucking thing. We're all living under this thing of like consciousness and the non-dual consciousness and para Brahman. It doesn't matter if you say you're into this or into that. It's like, how are you conducting your business while you're here?
When like when a terrorist is like praying, right, and he's like doing his dua at the end. His duas are multiple. It's not just death to America. It's death to America. May my grandma live for a long time. May my medicine for my wife. And then death to America as well. It's all part of the same concept. It's all the same concept.
And those multitudes are going to splatter all over soon. In multiple directions.
Multitudes, bro.
Hey, maybe this episode should be called Pranav Loves Muslims.
Whoa.
Can you note that, Joe?
And then put quotes on loves.
Yeah. And put on quote on Muslims, too. Put a quote on Pranav too.
Why not, dude?
This is actually a perfect time to end the episode. We're right at 45 minutes.
Right at
Done.
45,
Do
guys.
we'll talk a little Patreon.
This has been Mango Bay. Got to get into the Patreon, guys.
we'll keep
Please,
talking
we
about
got a
this
lot
for-
cooking up there. Help us achieve our dreams. We would be so honored if you would subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, we have our monthly show every end of every month. You get a discounted ticket if you're on the Patreon. It's at the New York Comedy Club in Gramercy. First one was a hot one. Second one's a hot one. Third one's going to be a hot one, too. We can't wait to see you guys there. We love you. Thank you.
Your mango bay.